Okay. I gotta get the theme song. And
Did you guys enjoy that one? I thought it was pretty good. So yeah, that's what we're looking at this week. Funny change in all of this. I don't remember if I announced it anywhere in any of the in any various social medias or anything like that, but we were going to be looking at It's a Wonderful Life. Well, this past week for us and our family was not very wonderful. It was rough. It was a very rough week.
It's a tough week.
And as inspirational as It's a Wonderful Life is, we just didn't think it was going to work. It just wasn't going to be, it wasn't going to get over like what I hope it does. I still hope it does get over. We're going to try again another time. Yeah.
We're still going to try it.
But, so I made an 11th hour change. And I mean, it was really late when I made this change. And we decided to go with what I consider a Christmas classic, Gremlins. Ha ha ha. That was a terrible laugh, but still, I'm very happy about Gremlins. I've been a fan of Gremlins since I was a kid. That movie scared me when I was a kid. As I got older, and I've realized it's far more entertaining than it was scary, and I really love it. I've always loved that film, so I can't wait to hear your reaction and stuff to it.
Well, let's jump right in.
Yes, let's do so.
Welcome to Rachel's Never Seen. I'm Rachel.
And I'm not. Let's see what you got, baby.
So, Gremlins is another movie where I feel like I've seen at least the beginning of it.
Okay. Yeah.
Don't remember how it starts freaking right now. No, the shop where he's in the
Chinatown.
shop in Chinatown.
Yeah,
so, yes,
Chinatown.
I feel like I've seen that, and you mentioned maybe I'd seen it parodied or whatever.
It's been parodied so many times.
I also remember the pool scene.
Okay.
I don't know if that's along the same veins, but that I knew I didn't say it, but I knew there was some point one gets into a pool.
Right.
I didn't know the context of it, but that's what I knew.
Right.
I also knew 2 of the rules. You didn't feed them after midnight, which
right.
you scoffed at every time.
It drives me nuts. We'll get into why the rules suck in a bit, but yeah.
No water.
Yes.
Those were 2 I knew. I didn't know about the light, bright light, sunlight. I did not know about that one. There was a little bit of name recognition during the credits.
A few people that you knew.
First, I just want to say Polly Holiday. What a name!
It's an amazing name. It seems like it'd be such a sweet lady's name.
Yeah, and then she plays the antagonist. She's the
awful person.
Modern, what would now be referred to probably as a Karen.
Yes. Oh, yeah. She's definitely a Karen.
She's a
Karen. Mrs. Deagle is definitely a Karen.
There was the kid from Goonies.
Yes, Corey Feldman. I believe this was his first film. I believe this came out first, and then...
Yeah, he does look much younger because he's the Christmas tree kid, right? Okay.
Yeah, I believe it was this, and maybe Friday the 13th Part 4 may have come out at the same time that year. Okay. Among his first, and then Goonies was the next year.
Gotcha. Phoebe Cates, I recognized that. I couldn't have picked her out. I didn't know she was Kate, which is just kind of funny to me that it's Phoebe Cates and character Kate. But so I had to look it up because I forgot to look it up earlier today. But the reason I know that is from a 2001 album by pop punk band Phoenix TX. They had a song called Phoebe Cates.
Really?
I cannot sing it to you. I can play it for you now if you'd like, or we can do it in post. But I can't remember how it goes, but I did remember the title.
The name of it was Phoebe Cates.
Yes.
It's fantastic.
It's definitely a Christmas movie. I'm just going to say that now. It's totally a Christmas movie.
It's absolutely a Christmas movie.
Set in Christmas, much more so than Die Hard is. And I said Die Hard was a Christmas movie. And I believe my reasoning for that was because he's singing Whistling Jingle Bells at the beginning.
Somebody was doing something like that.
That was my reasoning for Die Hard. And so by that logic, this absolutely has to be because it opens with whatever... I can't remember this, but it was a well-known Christmas song. Where
it's the Christmas, the snow's coming down. That one, yeah. Christmas. That's it.
Mr. F.
Futterman.
Mr. F.
Mr. Futterman. The kooky old war veteran neighbor.
Kooky is being polite.
Oh, yeah, he's hardcore.
I wrote down he's a grade A creep.
Yeah, he's got some creepiness in him. I get you. I give you that, especially these kind of all over.
I mean, it was
Kate
the drunk.
when
Yes,
he was
that
drunk.
scene, the drunk scene with Kate. She was
Yeah.
far more polite about it than I ever would have been.
Yes, this is true.
And she was sympathetic. She was empathetic to him. Yeah. You know, it's a tough time for everybody.
He lost his job and
yeah.
He was not having a good time, and he seems like he's a bitter old man even before that.
Yes, absolutely. With the whole rant at the beginning
anything
on foreign cars. I called that. I'm like, was he some jaded World War II vet or something? And
yeah, he was one of the. He's either World War II or Korean War, but he's old enough to be either one.
One of the vets.
Yep.
Mrs. Deagle just definitely gave off Wicked Witch of the West vibes to me. Like, with the dog. I'll get you, my pretty, dog. Whatever. Yeah.
She was yeah, she was pretty awful.
She was just terrible. You pointed out to me a cameo that I loved.
Yes. So, in the bar scene, right after Mrs. Deagle comes in there and threatens to take the dog away, Billy is sitting in the bar, and he's Dory's, and he has drawn a comedic cartoon of Mrs. Deagle. And there's a gentleman sitting next to him who tells him that, oh yeah, you really captured the witch's look or whatever. And he says, thanks, Mr. Jones. And that is Chuck Jones, the animation director, probably best known for Looney Tunes and all of those. But for you, I knew he would be best known as the director of the Grinch. TV special that we all know and love.
Christmas time thing.
Excuse me, Mr. Jones.
Here's, speaking of cameo kind of fun things, I don't know if you noticed or not. I genuinely didn't notice this until we watched this film. What is it? Kingford Falls or something like that is the name of this. Kingston Falls City is the same backlot in Town Square used in Back to the Future.
Oh, really?
Yes, it's the exact same one. Yep.
That's fun.
A couple of shots I really recognized it, especially like the theater at the end is the one that Marty crashes into when he comes back. That they blow up a bunch of the gremlins in at the end.
And we saw Steven Spielberg riding his little bicycle.
Spielberg, who's the executive producer of this. Yeah, he also made a nice little cameo in it too, and later on. Yeah, there's a lot of fun little things in here. I didn't realize how campy and B-movie this movie was until I was watching it again the other night, because it was just like, man, I thought this movie, one, was scarier than it was. It had been obviously a while since I watched it, that it was scarier than what it was. But two, that it intentionally wanted that B-movie feel and wanted that, characters to be very, very stereotyped and the Gremlins to have that kind of campiness and fun to them, but they're also obviously horrific, terrible, homicidal creatures.
Right.
So I believe all of that was intentional, but I just didn't realize to the extent that it was until we were watching it. And I was like, oh my God.
I would never have noticed. So now we get to the point where we are introduced to Mogwai, or the Mogwai,
Gizmo.
or Gizmo.
Gizmo, the Mogwai.
Yep. Obviously I know a little bit through pop culture, and they're not as cute as I remember them being. I know you're like, oh, it's so cute. And I'm
they're adorable.
Oh, it's kind of cute, but
they're like fuzzy baby Yodas.
It's okay, that's fair. They reminded me of Furbies, of course. A cross kind of between a Furby, and then there was an 80s cartoon that I had completely forgot about until we watched it. It's called Popples. Do you remember those?
No. Drew, see if you can find Popples somewhere.
Well, I had a stuffed in. They're cute. They could roll up in a ball, and now I want one again. Nostalgia.
We'll see if we can find one. Feel free to send one to the house. You know our address. If not, reach out through YouTube, and we'll figure it out.
It barked back at the dog. I love that.
Oh, the dog's barking. You hear the little Gizmo.
Okay, so now we're getting into the start of the rules.
Oh, boy.
Because when we were first introduced to Gizmo, Barney licks Gizmo.
It's true. Yeah, licks his ear.
The dog's tongue should be wet, right?
Right. Is it because it's not actual, pure water? Does
Saliva?
Does it have to be clean water? I don't know. When the Gremlins are getting drunk in a bar and they're sitting there drinking
There you
beer, does that not count? Like, yeah, no.
Is it external?
It is one of those things where, and it comes down to the rules. First of all, we have to do the old fashioned. It's a movie.
It's a
Fine.
movie.
But
you have some artistic license.
but it just doesn't make sense. Like, it really doesn't. It makes no sense. The rules themselves. The only one that makes any sense is the bright light one. You can go, okay, sure. Maybe UV rays is what it kills them. You know, bright lights hurt them, or like their eyes and stuff. They're really photosensitive. But maybe UV actually kills them. Okay, fine. Fair enough. But the water thing, I don't understand.
And then later on in the movie, after they've turned,
they're running around in the snow. I'm like, they're in snow. Like, that is nothing but water.
And he's
that
like, at one point, like, tunneling through it. So, you know, it's not like he's just stepping on it. He is
completely covered.
Covered in snow.
Yeah. It makes no sense.
It makes no sense.
And then it's like, don't feed him after midnight. According to what clock? And then when is it after midnight? When is it that... So when is it after midnight? And then when is it before midnight? I mean, it makes no sense. That rule has always driven me crazy, because it's like, I don't... And one of the funny parts is in Gremlins 2, which was made as a spoof of Gremlins.
Yeah.
They knowingly made a spoof of it. There's an argument between people who are trying to understand these rules. And one of them goes, well, what if they're on an airplane and they're flying like to the West Coast, and they cross a timeline? Does the rules, do they adhere to the international timelines? Is that okay if they sit there and go through the time zones? Does that count? And I'm like, that's a valid point. When midnight? Is it midnight Greenwich Mean Time? Is that when it is?
Who knows?
It doesn't make sense. And then when does it officially not?
When does it reset?
When does it reset to not after midnight? Yeah. No, the rules are shit. That's what it comes down to. Right there. The rules are shit.
Well,
it is a B movie. That's what it is, and that's what they do, and they acknowledge they know they have no idea what they're doing.
You just got to pay attention to whether people are letting it all hang out or not.
Right. Yeah.
Do you get it?
No.
After midnight, we gonna let it all hang out.
Hang on one moment here. We're gonna reset this whole thing. Moving on.
Mr. P's Inventions. I can't remember their last name now.
Peltzer.
The Peltzer products.
Yes.
Orange juice squeezer. Well, you put one orange in there. Maybe there was, I don't know. So much juice, so much pulp.
So much pulp. Yeah.
And I thought it was like sitting on top of oranges.
Like it was going to crush them or something. That always is like an optical illusion to me. Even knowing how it works this time around, I thought the same thing again. I was like, is it going to do? It's where you store your oranges, I guess.
So we talked about those little with Mr. F leaving the bar. Kate was good to him. The mental health talk, about Christmas being a hard time for everybody. Yes. I really appreciated that, you know, especially back in the 80s where I wasn't around. I wasn't like living through that, but I feel like it's in my times, it's becoming less stigmatized, but it's just something you kind of don't really talk about. And myself, I'm a big advocate for that. So I appreciated that talk, but man, she was blunt.
Oh, yeah.
Some people open presents, other people open their wrists or something is what I think she said.
That's what she said, yeah.
Like, gosh, dang.
Kate's got no chill. You find out why she has no chill in the saddest story ever told.
That was quite a story.
Yeah. And it seems so out of nowhere.
It does.
Like, it really does. And
I mean, throughout the movie, you understand maybe she's not the best fan of Christmas, but like, I wasn't.
Wasn't ready for that.
Expecting that.
Yeah, no. It's like it just takes this turn for no reason. There's no reason to have that story in there. We get it. She doesn't like Christmas. That's fine. You're just entitled to not like Christmas.
Yeah.
You don't have to have this incredibly sad story about your dad dying in a chimney.
No. Question about Gizmo.
Yes.
If if he had eaten after midnight, would he have been terrible?
I don't know if he'd have been terrible because that's always been like the question. It's like Gizmo's like the only good Mogwai or Gremlin because the other ones were bad and acting out anyway. I believe they were the ones that strung the dog up.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. You know, it wasn't Mrs. Deagle or anything like that. It was Stripe because you see him sitting there smiling and they're trying to be asleep. So they are always bad, like the offspring, the spawn that come off of Gizmo. And so I don't know if it's something where Gizmo is like this really good, pure creature. And so this is that other aspect of it. Like this is his evil side and it just literally reproduces. But if Gizmo would eat after midnight, he would turn into a gremlin. Now, whether he'd be a good gremlin, like a kind gremlin, still that kind Gizmo, but just ugly. Because, I mean, relatively speaking, I think, I don't know.
If they, like, grow out of it or something, like the ones the offspring that we see
like when they're
just, like,
young,
teenagers
they're crazy.
They're crazy.
That's kind of an interesting way to look at it.
If you keep them out of water and if you keep them out of light and don't feed them, if you follow all the rules for however many, whatever their puberty cycle is, will they mature? Will they mature? So that's I don't know. Mrs. Peltzer, what a woman.
She's awesome.
She is fierce
I've
and
always
determined
loved her.
and don't fuck with her kitchen.
That's right. I have always loved Mrs. Peltzer. Even when I was a kid, I was like, she was like the badass hero of this entire movie. She really is, because Billy gets his ass handed to him.
Billy calls, "Get out of the house!" Like, nah, I don't think so.
I'm gonna get these bitches out of my. Get them out of here. And she takes 3 out by herself. You know? Yeah, she's a badass.
She sure is.
She's an absolute badass.
The Gremlins seem to have a lot of electrical knowledge.
Yeah.
I was amazed by that.
Yeah, they have some sort of innate ability to not only figure out electronics, but destroy them, like, strategically. Know what they're doing when they destroy them. Which, of course, goes back to the whole origin of the name Gremlins, and that, whenever there's something wrong mechanically.
How to manipulate them to cause the most havoc. Another reason I wrote down as a gremlin is because when Mrs. Deagle flew up her stairway and out of the house, I found that hilarious.
You did. You laughed out really loud on that one. It was really funny.
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah, couldn't happen to a nicer lady.
Yeah, right. One big hang-up it was tough for me to get over was, where did they get all these gremlin-sized things? Gremlin guns, gremlin chainsaw, gremlin hat, gremlin clothes. All of them were clothes.
Guns aren't really gremlin guns. I mean, they're small guns. They're pistols. They're little Saturday night specials. I mean, they can find stuff like that. But yeah, there was...
All of them had clothes.
Like the chainsaw...
Were they baby clothes?
They could have been. Could have been doll clothes, maybe. The chainsaw that Stripe uses at the end, I'm like, I've seen small chainsaws.
Right, yeah, there could be a handsaw.
Especially when it's an electric one.
Handsaw, maybe.
Yeah, I've seen those. But he had, what was the other thing? Like the dart gun, or not dart gun, but the crossbow.
Crossbow.
Was really small. Like, even for a crossbow, it was pretty damn small.
Yeah. Some more reasons I am a gremlin is the singing.
Yes.
I like to sing everything.
And I'm pretty sure that, like, I seem to have noticed as I watched the movie this time around, I was like, that must be just part of their nature.
Yeah.
Is to enjoy singing. Because even Gizmo does it, he has his own little song.
Hi-ho.
Excuse me. And then, yes, the fact that they, like, latched onto Snow White is just hilarious. And they're just all singing hi-ho, and they know none of the other words. They're
hi-ho,
just saying hi-ho, hi-ho the entire time. Yeah.
And also, candy. Yum, 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 yum.
Yes.
Yum, 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 yum.
Yum, yum. Yum, yum. I love the voice work done in this. Frank Welker did the voice of all the Gremlins, and then Howie Mandel, of course, did the voice of Gizmo. And they do give them all so much personality by doing
really
that.
do.
And it's like they don't have to have an extensive vocabulary. They have one that is obviously of like a toddler.
They're almost
learning.
like a parrot, like repeating.
Yeah, they can learn words and
Yeah.
learn what things mean. You know, they obviously have an intelligence enough to read. You know, so it's they're an interesting creature. You really want to get into like the biology of them.
Right?
You really want to break it down to it. They're actually a pretty interesting creature.
How fast so back to the part in the department store where Billy's chasing the gremlin, and I'm just like, this gremlin is what, 2 feet tall maybe?
Yeah.
Got little bitty legs, riding a tricycle. How fast is that thing actually going that you're like,
it's moving. But you know, it's
I guess he was traumatized and hurt and stuff.
Well, I think this all falls onto Billy. I think Billy's just a weak man.
He's just a putz.
Yeah, I think he's just a bit of a putz, like Judge Reinhold called him earlier. I think he, you know, because when he's sitting there with the chainsaw and he's got the bat and he's blocking the chainsaw, I'm like, you can't overpower that damn thing. You can't just. Oh, I know he hit you in the with a crossbow bolt in your bicep. Fine.
Adrenaline's a thing.
So is weight ratio.
Right.
So is weight ratio. And you have him by a good 150 to 170 pounds, depending if you ate Thanksgiving dinner that night. Like, I mean, you've got him beat on that. You should be able to get yourself out of that situation.
I do like at the end when they're walking out of the house and their Christmas lights are blinking. I was like, oh, they got nice, cool blinking lights. And then maybe I thought it was the Gremlins who maybe actually did that.
Maybe there's a short or something in them or whatnot.
No.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did. I enjoyed it. It was really fun movie.
What's your summation of the whole thing here? What do you grade it? How would you overall? Did you like it? I can't come up with a sentence.
I liked it. It's definitely in my top 3. I'm trying to decide whether, like, where in my top 3.
I would say you don't have to directly rank it with the ones you've already seen, like movies you've already seen, but at least, you know, what would your honest rating be out of 10 for it?
I know, and that's what I'm trying to say is I don't know. I feel like 7.5 is too low.
Right.
But 8 is too high. But I've been doing 0.5 increments, so I guess I would do a 7.8, which rounds up to an 8. So there you go.
It's an 8. It's an 8 for Gremlins.
With Lampoon.
It's an 8 for Gremlins. Vacation. Good. I'm so glad you really liked it.
I did. I think the Audible was the right choice.
Yes, I think so too. In the end, I really do. I think it was. It's a fun, campy movie. Yes, it has a little bit of some scary elements. Yeah, for smaller children, it could be scary.
I wasn't scared at any point. There were a few points where I was a little grossed out.
Right.
But I wouldn't even say it was close to my limit.
Right.
Like.
No,
it was.
No, the
sci-fi alien goo stuff. Like it wasn't. I have more problem with seeing people's limbs and muscles cut off and open and things like that.
And there's nothing there's very little blood in it at all.
Yeah.
I really, really liked it more when I watched it this time around as an adult because, you know, I got a lot of the campiness of it. There's a lot of just there's jokes in there that, like, obviously I didn't get when I was a kid and I had seen this movie, but having watching it now as a near 40-year-old man, it's just there are some funny damn moments in that, and it's far more campier than I thought it would be. The one I
liked was when they're at the bar and Kate walks in. I don't remember what she says now, but Judge
Reinhold. Oh, yeah. It's like, Kate, you haven't seen my new apartment. She said, I haven't seen your old apartment. Yeah. That was a good burn. That was a really good burn. Yeah. She shut that shit down fast.
I forget what I was say. Well, if you had to guess, when was the last time you watched this?
Oh, man. From start to finish, not in this century. It definitely has not been in the past 20 years. Wow. I was probably in middle school or high school last time I watched it.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I could share this.
Yeah. It was kind of rediscovering it. Yeah. It really was. Like, I knew all the beats in it as we were watching. I knew where we were getting to point, but there was a lot of newer stuff in there for me. Like, going, oh my gosh, this is, like I said, far funnier than I remembered it being. You know, so Well, that's awesome. Well, I'm glad that helped turn that whole terrible week around with the help from the Gremlins.
The Gremlins.
So now I'm gonna have to make her watch Gremlins 2 because she should really see the sequel because it's funny. And this is the Phoebe Cates song that apparently we're gonna go out on.
Sarah, let us take us out. Phoenix TX, take us out.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in this week. We'll be back next week with our last Christmas movie and last one of 2020, really. And we'll be back in the new year with some new movies.
Stay safe, everybody.
So,
Happy holidays.
See you next week.